I held my dad's wedding invitation and something felt off. "You're coming, right?" he said. I forced a smile, then realized the bride was the woman who broke my mom. The envelope sat on my counter like it didn't belong in my apartment. Thick paper, my name printed clean across the front, like this was just another normal milestone. I didn't open it right away. I didn't need to. I already knew. My dad had been hinting about it for weeks. Careful tone, rehearsed lines. Something special coming up. I want you there. Like if he said it enough times, I'd forget how we got here. When I finally opened it, I saw their names together. David Anderson and Laura Rodriguez. I didn't feel shocked. That part had already passed months ago. This felt quieter. Heavier. Like something settling into place that I didn't want to accept. I left it on the counter and walked away, but I kept coming back to it. Like it was watching me. I wish I could say everything changed overnight, but it didn't. That's the part that still messes with me. For almost 2 years, nothing looked wrong. Family dinners still happened. Holidays still felt normal. My mom still cooked too much food and pretended she wasn't tired. My dad still told the same jokes, laughed the same way, sat in the same chair like everything was exactly where it should be. And the whole time, he was somewhere else too. I didn't find out on my own. My mom did. And I remember the night she told me, because she didn't cry the way I expected. She just sat across from me at her kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from, and said, "Your dad's been seeing someone." That was it. No build-up. No warning. I asked how long. She said, "Almost 2 years." I actually laughed for a second. Not because it was funny. Because it didn't make sense. 2 years meant birthdays. Christmas. Random Tuesday nights when nothing special was happening. It meant all the normal moments were fake. I asked if he denied it. She shook her head. No. He said he didn't know how to tell me. That sentence stayed with me longer than anything else. Not "I'm sorry." Not "I made a mistake." Just, he didn't know how to tell her. Like the problem wasn't what he did. Just the timing of the confession. They separated fast after that. No big fights, at least not in front of me. Just quiet logistics. My dad moved out. My mom found a smaller apartment across town. I helped her pack boxes she didn't really look at, like if she avoided eye contact with her own life, it would hurt less. I stayed close to her. That part wasn't even a decision. It just happened. With my dad, it got polite. That's the best way I can describe it. We talked, but it felt like I was talking to a coworker. Surface level, careful, nothing real underneath. Like we both knew there was something we weren't addressing and we agreed not to touch it. Then a few months later, he asked me to dinner. He said, "I want you to meet someone." I already knew. Still, I went. I told myself I should see it for myself instead of imagining it. The restaurant was downtown. One of those places that tries to feel casual, but everything is slightly too nice to relax. He was already there when I walked in. And she was sitting next to him. Laura Rodriguez. She stood up when she saw me, smiling like we were meeting under normal circumstances. Like she wasn't the reason my mom was sleeping alone in a one-bedroom apartment. "Emily," she said, and held out her hand. I shook it. I don't even remember deciding to. It just happened. "Nice to meet you," I said, and I hate how normal my voice sounded. We sat down. Ordered drinks. Made small talk. Work, traffic, random things that didn't matter. She was nice. That's what made it worse. There was no obvious villain energy. No attitude. No arrogance. Just a regular person who had made a decision that wrecked someone else's life. At one point, my dad laughed at something she said, and it hit me in a way I didn't expect. That sound. It was the same laugh I grew up hearing at our dinner table. Same tone. Same warmth. Just directed somewhere else. I kept thinking, this is the person he was texting while my mom was cooking dinner. This is who he chose every time he left the room with his phone. I didn't make a scene. I didn't call them out. I just stayed long enough to not make it obvious, then said I had an early morning and left. After that, I started pulling back. Not cutting him off completely. Just less. Fewer calls. Shorter conversations. I stopped going out of my way to see him. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. Like a slow fade. He noticed, but he didn't push too hard. I think part of him knew why. Then earlier this year, he told me they were getting married. We were sitting in his new place when he said it. Clean, modern, everything felt temporary, like a staged version of a life. Laura wasn't there that day, which somehow made it easier for him to say it. "We've been talking about it for a while," he said. "It feels right." I didn't say anything at first. I just looked around his living room, trying to match the space with the house I grew up in, and it didn't connect. He added, "I want you there, Emily." It would mean a lot. Mean a lot. I nodded like I understood. Like I was considering it. But something in me had already shifted. A few days later, the invitation arrived. And that's when it stopped being abstract. Now it was a date. A place. A real event I was expected to show up to and participate in. Salt Lake City, Utah. Outdoor ceremony. Mountain view. It sounded beautiful. That almost made it worse. Because it meant they weren't hiding anymore. They weren't even pretending this was complicated. To them, this was just the next chapter. The weeks after that got louder. My dad started bringing it up more directly. Calls, texts, casual mentions that weren't actually casual. You booked anything yet? Flights are cheaper if you do it early. I told people you'd probably be there. That last one bothered me. Probably. Like my presence was already part of the plan, whether I agreed or not. I started avoiding the conversation. Changing the subject. Saying I was busy. Saying I needed time. But he kept circling back. Then my aunt, Sarah Lewis, called me. You're going, right? She said, like it wasn't even a question. I don't know, I said. There was a pause. Then she sighed. Emily, sometimes you have to be the bigger person. It's your dad. The bigger person. I heard that phrase more times than I can count after that. My cousin Ashley texted me too. You might regret not going, she said. Not mean, just honest. That somehow hit harder. Even my grandparents got involved. Subtle comments, careful tone, but the message was clear. Show up. Keep the peace. Don't make this harder than it already is. The only person who didn't pressure me was my mom. We were sitting in her apartment one night, folding laundry in front of the TV. She hadn't mentioned the wedding at all until I brought it up. I don't think I can go, I said. She didn't look surprised. She just nodded and said, then don't. I waited for more. For advice. For some kind of direction. But that was it. Do what lets you sleep at night, she added, almost as an afterthought. And that was the moment everything got clearer. Because suddenly it wasn't about my dad, or Laura, or what the rest of my family thought. It was about what I could actually live with. I kept thinking about sitting there, watching him say vows to someone he started seeing while he was still married to my mom. Smiling for photos. Acting like this was something to celebrate. And every time I pictured it, something in me tightened. Like I'd be lying. Not just to them, but to myself. A month before the wedding, he asked me again. This time, I didn't dodge it. I'm not going, I said. There was silence on the other end of the phone. Then he asked why. And I realized I couldn't soften it anymore. I'm not going, I said. There was a pause on the other end, longer than anything we'd had in months. Then my dad exhaled slowly like he was trying to stay calm. Why, Emily? I stared at the wall while he asked it. I had gone over this conversation in my head so many times, but saying it out loud still felt heavier than I expected. Because I can't sit there and pretend this is something I'm happy about, I said. I'm not. Another pause. Then his tone shifted, tighter this time. It's not about pretending. It's about showing up. It's about family. That word didn't land the way he thought it would. Family doesn't do this to each other, I said before I could stop myself. Silence again, but this one felt different. Colder. Relationships are complicated, he said finally. You don't know everything that was going on between me and your mom. I closed my eyes. I knew that line was coming. I don't need to know everything, I said. I know enough. And your mom isn't perfect either, he added. That did it. Something in me shut down completely. Not loud, not dramatic. Just off. Like a switch flipped and I stopped trying to meet him halfway. This isn't about her being perfect, I said. It's about what you did. He didn't respond right away. When he did, his voice was quieter, but there was something defensive underneath it. I told people you'd be there, he said. It's going to look bad if you're not. There it was. Not how I felt. Not what this meant to me. Just how it would look. I'm not going to show up just so things look better, I said. Laura is already nervous about this, he continued, like he hadn't heard me. She's trying to be respectful. It would mean a lot if you were there. Respectful. I almost laughed, but it came out more like a breath. I'm sure she is, I said. But that doesn't change anything. He got quiet again, and this time he didn't try to argue. All right, he said finally. If that's your decision. It sounded calm, but it wasn't. It sounded like something closing. We hung up after that. No resolution. No real goodbye. The weeks leading up to the wedding felt strange. Like everything was moving forward without me, and I was just watching from the outside. I kept thinking maybe I'd change my mind at the last minute. Book a flight, show up, just sit in the back and get through it. But every time I imagined it, I felt that same tightness in my chest. So I didn't. The morning of the wedding, I woke up earlier than usual. I didn't check my phone. I didn't want to see any messages, any reminders of where I was supposed to be. Instead, I made coffee and sat on my couch, staring out the window like it was just another day. But it wasn't. At that exact moment, they were probably getting ready. Hair, makeup, suits, dresses. People laughing, taking pictures, acting like this was something joyful. I tried to distract myself. Turned on the TV, scrolled through random things, cleaned parts of my apartment that didn't need cleaning. Nothing really worked. My brain kept going back to it. I wondered if he noticed I wasn't there right away. Or if someone had to ask first. Where's Emily? And then he'd have to answer. She didn't come. I don't know why that part bothered me. Maybe because I knew it would make things awkward. Maybe because I knew it would make me the topic of conversation for at least a few minutes. Around mid-afternoon, I turned my phone back on. Messages started coming in almost immediately. My aunt. I wish you had come. This was important. My cousin Ashley. It was beautiful. I think you would have liked it. That one sat wrong with me. Liked it. A couple of relatives didn't say anything directly, but I could feel it in the silence. Like they had already decided what this meant about me. Then there were the more direct ones. You embarrassed your dad. He was really hurt. People were asking about you. I read them one after another, feeling that same mix of emotions I'd been carrying for weeks. Not guilt, exactly. Something heavier, but also clearer. My dad didn't call. That part stood out the most. I kept expecting my phone to ring. For him to say something, anything. Angry, disappointed, whatever. But nothing came. Late that night, I finally got a text. I'm disappointed, Emily. I hope someday you can understand my side of things. That was it. No, I miss you. No, we'll talk later. Just that. I stared at it for a long time before putting my phone down. The next few days were quiet. Quieter than I expected. No follow-up messages from him. No attempts to fix things. Just distance. Clean, simple distance, like he had accepted that this was where we were now. And that's the part that's been sitting with me ever since. Because I thought I'd feel worse. I thought I'd feel overwhelming guilt, like I had done something irreversible. But I don't. I feel sad. That part's real. It's still my dad. That doesn't just go away because I don't agree with him. But I don't feel like I made the wrong decision. If anything, I feel settled. Like for the first time since all of this started, I didn't bend just to make things easier for everyone else. I keep replaying it though. What if I had gone? Just sat there, smiled when I needed to, left early, and avoided all this tension? Would things be better now? Or would I be sitting here feeling like I betrayed myself instead? I don't know. And I think that's what makes this harder than it should be. Because there's no clean answer. Just two versions of regret, and I picked the one I thought I could live with. I keep thinking about what my aunt said, about being the bigger person. And maybe she's right. Maybe I should have just gone. Smiled. Sat through it. Made things easier for everyone. But then I think about my mom, sitting alone that night, while I'm clapping for the man who replaced her. And I realized something that I don't think my family wants to admit. Me not going didn't break anything. It just made it obvious that something was already broken. But now my dad isn't calling. And I don't know if I protected myself. Or if I just lost him for good.